Hello, hello. All right, welcome. Episode 6. Hey, Joel. I just realized, so I can see the comments, chat, whatever, from 3 different platforms. I'm using Restream, so I can see Facebook comments. I'm also on Twitch and YouTube, but I don't know if you can see each other's comments. I don't think you do. I think you can only see your own platform comments. So I'll make sure if there's any specific questions, I'll try and repeat them. Anyway, I'll just get the recording going and get started. Cool, so this week I'm playing what is considered to be probably the first real-time strategy game, RTS game ever made. I mean, you could argue that, lots of people have. But the first sort of RTS game as we know them today was probably Dune 2. The full title is Dune 2, The Building of a Dynasty. So let's get it started up. So I am running Dune 2 in DOSBox. Now you can't actually buy Dune 2 anywhere these days unless you manage to get a physical copy. And I've always wanted a Dune 2 boxed copy. However, I just looked on Facebook this afternoon, on eBay this afternoon. There is one copy available in Australia for $8,990. So yeah, it's one of the rarer boxed copies you can get. Here we go. This is also one of the coolest intros, I think, of any game ever. Anyway, I'll shut up now and we'll watch the intro.
Dune, the building of a dynasty. The planet Arrakis, known as Dune.
Gotta love the pixel art. It's just beautiful.
Land of sand. Home of the spice melange. The spice controls the empire.
Yeah, actually, I probably could claim that on tax, considering what I'm doing.
Whoever controls Dune controls the spice.
Could claim that $8,000 on tax for a box copy of Dune 2. Yes, please.
The Emperor has proposed a challenge to each of the houses.
The house that produces the most spice will control Dune. There are no set territories and no rules of engagement.
Vast armies have arrived. Now, three houses fight for control of Dune. The noble Atreides. The insidious Ordos.
My favorite house, let's be honest, it's the Harkonnen.
And the evil Harkonnen.
I mean, they're like the proto-Russia from Red Alert.
Only one house.
The Harkonnen
will
have the heavy
prevail.
troops. They had the good tanks.
Your battle for Dune begins now.
Now with an echo. So, how cool is that? Very cool intro. I really like that intro. It's probably one of my favorite intro cinematics of any game ever. So, Dune 2. What is Dune 1, you might ask? It's a very different game. Dune 1 came out about 12 months earlier. And it was sort of like I guess more of an adventure RPG. So, Virgin Games had the Dune license to produce, any sort of entertainment content related to the Dune movie. So the game is predominantly based on the movie rather than the book. And basically these devs had the Dune license and didn't know what they wanted to do with it. Yeah, let's go to Harkonnen.
House Harkonnen.
So anyway, they had the Dune license, they didn't know what to do with it, but they had a whole bunch of money. And one of the devs at Westwood Studios, who was the developer, they basically showed the team a Sega Mega Drive game called Herzog Zwei. And Herzog Zwei was considered the proto RTS. It had a lot of RTS elements, but it wasn't sort of an RTS as we know them today. And taking influence from that, and also the God game Populous and Civilization, the team put together Dune as we know it today. Yes, I want to join House Harkonnen. Look at this dude. I always love this. You could make him have a bit of a fit with him. Yeah, the license was, Dune was released in 1992, and as you might know, the response to the movie was mixed, to say the least. However, the Dune, IP is sort of highly respected. It's the holy grail of sci-fi, and there's been so many attempts to sort of translate Dune into various formats. So the game is nothing like the books, and it's not really much like the movie either, but it was probably one of the only successful translations of the source material. They took a lot of liberties, but they really captured the essence of Arrakis, the desert planet. Alright, so you can see the interface here.
Yes, sir.
Really basic.
Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
So this whole idea of using an interface to, influence the game area, no one had ever really done it before in this sense. And the team was actually inspired by the Mac operating system. And they basically thought, well, why can't we have a context-specific game area? So we'll build some wind turbines. I really love the amount of detail and all the build menus. It's a beautiful art and that sort of stuff.
Yes, sir. Moving out.
So unlike later RTS games, you do have to individually select
From the south.
everything.
Affirmative. Reporting.
Every unit needs to be.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving out.
Select, move, click, select, move, click. It's quite tedious when you've played later RTS games.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out.
And as you can see, my buildings already need to be repaired. That is because in the Dune lore, essentially, the harsh environment of Arrakis causes everything to degrade. So you had to, build everything on concrete. You had to constantly repair stuff. It's quite a brutal game when you get into the later levels.
Construction complete.
That's right, Corey. This really did impact the speed of gameplay. The fact that you had to, sort of click things individually. It's sort of the origins of the whole actions per minute perspective that is so central to, modern competitive StarCraft games. So Dune introduced a whole bunch of stuff that's sort of become a staple of the genre. So as I said, this is basically, if you look at Dune, if you look what's presented before you right now, the genre's not really changed that much. I'm currently building a refinery which goes and gathers resources, which allows me to build more stuff. I've got a little map down here. I've got units that I move around.
Harkonnen harvester deployed.
All those elements are still
Moving out.
part of the genre,
Yes, sir. Moving out.
and they've not changed much. I mean, think about stuff like what, Age of Empires
Construction.
and Total Annihilation. It's pretty much the same thing. So yeah, the gameplay does get quite frantic.
Construction complete.
Another thing was the whole technology tree. So, you can only build certain things once you've built certain prerequisite buildings.
Complete. Warning, enemy units
So I had to build the wind traps before I could build the refinery, etc.
Yes, sir. Infantry reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Infantry out.
The damn Atreides.
Enemy unit destroyed.
Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Let's do a bit of exploration. Yeah, the tech tree was, I guess, stolen from Civilization. It was the inspiration, so it was one of the core inspirations.
Yes, sir. Moving out.
The interesting thing about Dune, I find, is that often, games by nature are iterative in their development. You very rarely get a game that is singularly responsible for creating something like an entire genre. The first-person shooter genre, for example,
Moving out.
Wolfenstein 3D was influenced by stuff like Ultima Underworld, which had a first-person perspective, a whole bunch of games like that. Whereas Dune was really, it introduced so much in one game.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Infantry out.
It's pretty rare to see that happen, especially today with sort of the
Enemy
blend
units
of
destroyed.
genres.
Harkonnen harvester deployed.
Yeah, was this game great, Gav? Yeah, it was. It was a sensation when it came out. It inspired. So Blizzard released Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, in I think it was 1994. So a couple of years after this. And then also in sort of 96, there was another game called Warwind, which was also another RTS game that was quite successful. And then by the late 90s, so 97, the genre had just exploded. if you're a PC gamer in the late 90s, you would remember
Reporting.
the
Acknowledged.
obsession with real-time strategy games. I mean, you had Age of Empires, you had Warcraft 2,
Yes, sir. Moving out.
Dark Reign, Total Annihilation, KKND.
Warning, enemy units approaching from the north.
Moving out. Infantry out. Infantry out. Yes, sir. Infantry out.
And it's actually quite, I think it's a bit of a point of pride that two of the big games of the real-time strategy boom in the late 90s were actually Australian games. So you had Dark Reign, which is created by Auron, that are a Brisbane-based developer. They're still active today, known as N3V Games. And then KKND, or Crush, Kill and Destroy, by Melbourne House.
Enemy units destroyed.
So Melbourne House is one of the big devs from the 80s and 90s. They are sadly defunct now. Yeah, AFL 98, I guess you could technically call that a real-time strategy game.
Moving out. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out.
What would the AFL equivalent of the Zerg Rush be, I
Yes,
wonder?
sir. Moving out.
Your mission is complete.
Winner. You have pleased me. So this guy's got a real Emperor Palpatine vibe about him. I can't remember when I first played this. I think it was on a friend's computer. I think it was. His dad got a copy of Dune 2 from work. Jeff Coleman. He's actually an artist. He's an amazing artist. You should have a look at him on Instagram. But yeah, he had a copy of it on his computer, and we used to play Dune 2 on there. I was never really that good at it. I've never been good at real-time strategy games. But they're really, I guess, approachable, really easy to get into, really enjoyable. So here you've got the three factions in Dune 2. So you've got the red, which is House Harkonnen, the blue, which is House Atreides, and then the green, which is a non-canon Dune 2 house. They're the Ordos. So the Harkonnen were sort of the heavy hitters. They had the big weapons, the big heavy soldiers, big guns, all that sort of thing. Slow units, but lots of armor. Here we go. Answer this question correctly and you'll prove your loyalty to House Harkonnen. So this was, I guess, an early form of copy protection. So what type of structure is this? So this version of the game is cracked, but in the original release you would have to get out your manual and you'd have to look up the answer to his question, and if you didn't answer the right question, it would kick you out of the game.
Reporting. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Moving out. Reporting. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Moving out.
So you can't actually buy Dune
out.
anymore
Reporting.
from
Acknowledge.
anywhere unless you want to spend that $9,000 on the physical copy.
Acknowledged.
So the only way to play it is to get it from an abandonware site.
Construction complete.
Abandonware is basically games that have been, effectively abandoned by their owners. So you can't buy them anymore. They're no longer distributed anywhere. So technically, you're not supposed to download them, but it's in a real legal grey area where the copyright owners tend to ignore the legality of downloading these things. And abandonware sites play a really key role in preserving game history.
Construction complete.
So I've just placed a couple links in the chat, and those are links to 2 places where you can play Dune 2 today. So one of them is an abandonware site where you can get the abandonware version of the game. And another is a website where you can play it online in your browser.
Construction complete.
The browser version has been reviewed by PC Gamer, and it got a pretty good review.
Construction
If you're on Facebook, you might not have seen those links. Hit me up and I'll send them to you if you like.
Construction complete.
But yeah, I think the abandonware scene plays a really, really important role in preserving game history. And so I'm a big supporter of abandonware and always have been.
Construction complete.
There's also, I'll share another link. There's a really great article that was on arstechnica.com, and it's an excellent article on the history of real-time strategy games. So that article is well worth a read if you're into gaming history.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out.
Yeah, Gav, this is Dune 2. I don't know if you played Dune 1. Dune 1's actually a pretty cool game, very different. Not a real-time strategy game at all, an adventure game. More closely related to the story that you might know from the books and the movies. You actually play as Paul Atreides, and you've got to, I guess, gain the support of the Fremen tribes to battle the Harkonnen.
Harvester deployed. Construction complete. Construction complete.
Yeah, so Dune 2 basically inspired like the RTS boom. Warcraft was, of course, one of the big ones
Yes, sir.
by Blizzard
Moving
Entertainment.
out.
But Westwood, the developer of Dune 2, came back in 95, I think it was, maybe 94, with Command and Conquer. And Command and Conquer is basically the same as Dune 2, just with, you know, refined mechanics. The sort of the general idea behind the units is the same. You've got infantry, you've got tanks, you've got sort of light armored vehicles, sort of thing. You can select multiple units.
Construction complete.
And there we are, there's the radar up and running.
Warning, Atreides units approaching.
Yes, sir. Infantry at reporting. Affirmative.
The old harvester tactic.
Reporting.
So this is a really frustrating tactic in Dune 2, where the enemy, although the player could do it as well, they would use their harvester to basically run over troops. So you might have seen just then that Atreides harvester squashed my infantry. So yeah, Westwood Studios was, I guess, the studio that founded the genre, and they
Moving out.
released the Command and Conquer games and Red Alert,
Moving out.
but unfortunately, they sort of
Moving out.
faded into obscurity over the years. So they couldn't keep pace with, I guess, the more adventurous devs
Enemy units destroyed.
like Blizzard and
Reporting. Affirmative.
Ensemble Studios with
Affirmative.
Age of Empires.
Affirmative.
And so they stuck to their old formula and started to lose relevance.
Moving out.
Enemy units destroyed.
Westwood Studios was eventually bought out by Electronic Arts,
Enemy units destroyed.
and we haven't really had a Westwood Studios real-time strategy game in quite a while,
Acknowledge.
apart from the
Reporting.
recent
Reporting.
Red Alert remaster. Ah, yeah, Joel, the Mentat button there. So Mentat is a concept from the Dune
Reporting.
notebooks, which is basically a human computer,
Reporting.
a very smart person who can remember a lot of stuff. And we'll have a look at it. So the Mentat is basically your in-game encyclopedia. So you can look stuff up like, you know, different types of units, the amazing sandworm. Oh yes, you might have seen the little, as the harvesters drive around, you might have seen a bit of shifting in the sand. And that is a sandworm. They're attracted to the vibrations of vehicles, that they'll come along and they'll eat them up.
Infantry out. Enemy units destroyed.
Yes, sir. Moving out.
So keep in mind, this is only the second level, and it is starting to get a little bit on the frantic side.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Infantry out.
The later levels are just absolutely chaotic. Pete, so yeah, how many Dune games they make? So there was Dune 1, as I mentioned before, the, I guess, adventure game.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Reporting.
Then after Dune 2,
Affirmative.
in about 97, there was a,
Yes, sir.
it was essentially a remake of
Infantry
of
out.
Dune
Enemy units
2
destroyed.
called Dune 2000,
Infantry. Yes, sir.
Enemy units destroyed.
and it was very, very, very similar to Red Alert. Had basically the same gameplay. And then you had Emperor Battle for Dune. Oh, yeah, there's a harvester. He's squashed my troop.
Enemy
Yes, the
units
sandworms do
destroyed.
appear in the game, Matt. So Emperor Battle for Dune was, I think it was the last Dune game released.
Construction complete.
And yeah, since Emperor Battle for Dune,
Construction complete.
there's been, you know, rumors flying around that, you know, this company or that company is going to make a Dune game, but it's never really eventuated.
Conan harvester deployed.
But I think that might change when Denis Villeneuve's new Dune movie finally comes out. I'm really looking forward to that. If you've seen Denis Villeneuve's other work, then, you know, you would probably be excited as well. The guy knows how to do sci-fi, and he's really keen on sticking with the, you know, the real essence of the books. So I think that might inspire a new generation of Dune video games,
Construction complete.
and I'm really excited for that. But yes, if you do want to play Dune 2,
Yes, sir.
you're going to have to rely on
Moving
abandonware
out.
sites,
Moving out.
Warning, Atreides units approaching.
and you're going to have to rely on running it in DOSBox, which is a DOS emulator. It can be a bit of a hassle to get running. So if you do need some tips on how to get it running, feel free to hit me up. I did write an article for Exclusively Games, which is basically a DOSBox guide. That article's no longer up because Exclusively Games is no longer active, but I'll look at reposting that on Medium at some point. I'm also looking at posting an article soon on basically the significance and the importance of the abandonware scene. If it wasn't for the abandonware scene, I might not be playing this game right now.
Acknowledged. Report. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Enemy units destroyed.
Affirmative.
I don't actually know what the aim of this mission is. I think I've got to get a whole bunch of credits.
Construction complete.
So yeah, if you've got any particular requests for games you want to see in the near future, please let me know and I'll try and organize it. Unfortunately, so DOS games are really great because I'm running them in an emulator and it's quite easy to stream them. Once you hit sort of Windows 95, 98 era games, they can be a little bit more difficult to get running on modern PCs, and they're even more difficult to stream. I need to rely on it. I need to get my hands on an external capture card, basically.
Reporting. Affirmative. Report affirmative. Report affirmative. Report affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving out.
Gav, I do not have a 90s PC as yet. Unfortunately, all those years ago, I didn't see the possibility that one day I would be really wanting to play retro 90s games. So right next to me, I've got a old cream case. It's probably got like a Pentium, like a AMD Athlon or something. So maybe early 2000s era PC. But yeah, I haven't actually got a 90s era PC, and that's big time on my wish list. So I want to get my hands on like a Pentium 2 running Windows 98 with a 3DFX graphics card. But yeah, they are very difficult to get your hands on these days. Uh-oh. The annoying thing about Dune 2 is once you, I guess, uncover the enemy base, then they just keep swarming you. Because the AI was not particularly developed back then, the way that the dev would, I guess, make the AI competitive is it would make them cheat. So the AI in Dune 2 has a limitless supply of spice, and they can just keep building things. Which is why some of the later missions get insanely difficult. Let's squash some of their troops.
Affirmative.
Harkonnen units deployed.
Oh no, they're taking the spice back.
Yes, sir. Infantry out. Yes, sir. Infantry out.
So yeah, if you do know of someone's nana who's got an old
Harkonnen units destroyed.
Windows 95 or 98 era PC sitting in the garage gathering dust,
Harkonnen
and they don't know the value of it,
Infantry out.
please let me know. And I promise I won't swindle them. I don't promise that, actually.
Infantry out.
Enemy units destroyed.
Infantry out.
So yeah, eventually I'm looking at doing a live stream of
Harkonnen harvester deployed.
something like Unreal Tournament. And my hope for that is that will be a live stream of Unreal Tournament, and it will take place on my Unreal Tournament server, which is still up and running. And if you're watching the stream, you can jump on the server and play alongside me.
Reporting.
Harkonnen units destroyed.
Acknowledged.
I would be totally down to that, Corey. A big UT multiplayer game with everyone. That would be absolutely awesome. If you are looking at getting into some classic games, I definitely recommend goodoldgames.com or goodoldgames, so GOG.com. They basically came out of the abandonware scene. So in the early 2000s, there was a bunch of abandonware sites and nowhere to buy classic games. And then GOG appeared and they started selling, classic games bundled with DOSBox. And the abandonware reaction at the time, I remember it, was everyone was just so
Yes, sir.
happy and so excited.
Moving out.
And all credit to the abandonware scene. If there was a game offered on GOG
Yes, sir.
that you could
Moving out.
buy, then all the abandonware sites basically had a code where they would just remove the
Harkonnen
download,
units deployed.
trying to encourage people to support
Moving out. Moving out.
classic games by purchasing them. So yeah, there's another reason that I really respect the abandonware community is
Yes,
they're not
sir.
just in it to give
Moving
stuff
out.
away for free. They really
Moving
want to
out.
preserve these games. So anyway, guys, I might cut it there because, to be honest, I'm probably going to get my ass handed to me unless I can pick up my
Marconi
unit
units
production.
deployed.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the stream. And yeah, keep an eye on Facebook, and I'll put up another poll on what we're going to play next time. So I'll put up a few options. I'll probably go with a first-person shooter, maybe real-time strategy, and a couple other games. So yeah, keep your eyes out, and thank you everyone for watching. It's been fun. Good old DOS. There's a couple of the games that I might have for next time. Anyway, see you later, guys. Thank you very much.